My husband fell ill and had to be hospitalized. Our granddaughter, Emma, approached her grandfather, Michael, with a smile and took something out of the bag she was holding.
Get well soon, Grandpa.
It was a get well soon bear handmade by Emma. Emma. Michael received it with a surprised look, and the next moment, as if he realized something, he tore it up fiercely.
Hey, what are you doing? Don't trample on Emma's feelings.
However, Michael's eyes were cold. Don't you get it? Huh? Prompted by Michael, I also took the piece of paper in my hand. Upon closer inspection, the beautifully handcrafted bear had a message inside, saying he wishing to go shopping again once he got better. Is this? I was lost in thought, staring blankly at the message, reminiscing about something that had happened just the other day. I'm not good at sewing. Emma had indeed said that. The warm atmosphere suddenly turned cold and heavy, and we all fell silent. Tonight's dinner is stew and fish and chips. Ah, that sounds like it'll go well with some drinks. Please, drink in moderation. The casual nightly exchanges between my husband and me. I, Mary Parker, have been married to Michael for 35 years. Michael runs a construction company, and life has been smooth sailing. Dad, I actually got some nice liquor from today's client. Whispered our second son, Alex, to Michael.
That's my Alex. Let's have some right away.
Oh, Alex, don't spoil your dad too much.
Of course, I know.
Alex was fascinated by the buildings Michael had worked on as a child, studied hard to become an architect, and successfully obtained his first-class architect license. Not just in studies, Alex was well-liked and respected by many from his student days. Michael appreciated Alex's diligence and character, deciding him as his successor. Alex has always been good at capturing people's hearts. It's only natural. I smiled at Alex, scratching his cheek shyly, and then I glanced at my phone to see a notification for a message. It was from our eldest son, David, saying he couldn't get any time off for a while and wouldn't be able to come home. He must be busy as usual. David wanted to become a chiropractor, studied for 4 years at university, obtained his certification, and started living on his own right after graduation. When he was not living with Alex, David would always come home if he had a long vacation.
I'm craving Mom's cooking, so I'll come home.
Watching David come home and happily eat his fill of dinner became one of my joys. Our relationship was good, but in the spring of the 3rd year after David moved out, a new breeze blew. It was during one of his visits home when I served him a meal. Thanks for the meal. Unusually, he didn't ask for seconds and seemed about to finish his meal. You usually eat more, are you feeling okay? In response to my question, David hesitated a bit, mumbling before he finally spoke.
I fell in love at first sight with a woman I met at a mixer. I've been so preoccupied with her I can't even sleep at night. Spring has finally come for David.
Michael exclaimed happily, having listened to the conversation. She's really beautiful, she was getting the most attention from the guys, so I couldn't just stand back. David, you'll be fine. Michael, with a sparkle in his eyes, placed his hand on David's shoulder and said encouragingly, "Thank you." Inspired by Michael's encouragement, David left our home, and a month later, he started dating a woman. Their relationship seemed to go well, and a year later, they decided to get married. I want our wedding to be a big celebration, since it happens only once in a lifetime. David called me to talk about the wedding plans. What kind of ceremony do you want? She wants to have it in Hawaii.
Hawaii?
I exclaimed, surprised by his answer. When I said I'm not great with flying, she got really upset and insisted on having it at the biggest venue in the city. Well, I'll talk to your father about it. After I mentioned it to Michael, he was thrilled about the idea of a big city venue. With all the expenses coming up, I'll cover the cost of the venue. Thus, David's wedding was set to be a grand event. Right before the ceremony, meeting the bride for the first time, she was indeed stunningly beautiful, always smiling warmly.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for covering the venue costs.
She greeted us right away. It's a pleasure to see you two so happy. Please take good care of David. She brightly responded with a yes, making me hopeful for a good relationship. After the wedding went smoothly, David and the bride decided to build a house about 2 hours away from ours and started their new life. Initially, David seemed to want to come home every long weekend as before. Rachel prefers to relax at home during the holidays. David messaged, to which I thought it's natural for newlyweds to want their privacy. Around that time, Alex returned home with his architectural license and began living with us again. A year later, when David and Rachel's daughter, Emma, was born, they visited our home for the first time.
She looks like her mom, so cute.
David and Rachel introduced Emma with bright smiles. We're both busy with work. It's reassuring to have you close by. We're here to help whenever you need, just let us know. Alex also nodded in agreement with our words. Thank you. I'm a bit of a germaphobe, so I can't stay long at other people's houses, and we won't visit often. That's okay. We hope you can visit sometimes, but we won't force you. Thank you. Following that, true to her word, Rachel never visited us, but David often called. Mom, I need your help. David would start, a phrase that became familiar to us. We always welcomed him immediately. We never interfered with their parenting, understanding that David and his wife were busy, but spending time with Emma became our joy. Time flew by, and before we knew it, Emma was in her 3rd year of elementary school, becoming very attached to us. On a day we took Emma shopping to replace the busy David and his wife, in a large mall. Emma's eyes sparkled with interest at everything.
Grandpa, what's that?
Watching the lady selling balloons with a bright, friendly smile, Emma looked at her curiously and asked. That's called a balloon. Balloon? It's filled with air, and if you don't hold it tight, it'll fly away into the sky. Michael explained, buying a balloon and securely handing it to Emma.
Wow! It's so light.
Emma danced around happily, laughing, while Michael melted with a tender expression. Pretty cool, huh?
Grandpa, thank you.
Afterwards, Michael kept buying whatever caught Emma's eye. A few days after a delighted Emma went home, David contacted us again. Looks like I'm going to be late again today. David said apologetically, and we told him not to worry, as we had already found several places where Emma could have fun. This park is huge, so you can play a lot. Alex boasted with his arms wide open when Emma came over and we all went to the park.
Yay! I want to go on the swings. All right, how about a swing competition then?
Alex, doting on Emma, played with her as if she were his own daughter, indulging her to the fullest. Emma, loving to move around, seemed to enjoy the park thoroughly. It was on one of these days, which we spent with Emma almost weekly, that something unusual happened. Michael started coughing badly from the morning, struggling with a cough that wouldn't stop. Are you okay? Yeah. It's probably just the dry air. Michael said, trying to brush it off as nothing, but the coughing didn't subside, even with water and cough drops. Dad, let me take you to the hospital. I'm fine. Michael insisted, but his cough only got worse. Finally, he coughed up blood and collapsed.
Honey! Dad!
Alex rushed to Michael, calling out desperately, but Michael was unconscious and didn't respond. I quickly called an ambulance, and Michael was taken to the hospital, with Alex and me following in a taxi. At the hospital, Michael received immediate treatment and, fortunately, it wasn't a serious illness. He would be able to go home in a few days. Still, he would need to rest for a while. I went back home to get what he needed for the hospital stay and informed David. They said it was because of the change of seasons, but please don't push yourself too hard. I said, teary-eyed, holding Michael's hand. Yeah, I'll be careful. Dad will be all right, you'll see. Relieved that Michael could respond properly, we decided to go back home. A few days later, while we were chatting with Michael, Emma came to visit with David.
Dad, are you okay? Sorry for worrying you when you're so busy. You seem better than I thought, that's a relief.
While David and Michael talked in a warm atmosphere, Emma, unusually quiet, didn't say anything. Emma, say hi to Grandpa. Even though Emma usually greeted Michael with a bright smile instantly, she looked tense even after David prompted her. Probably nervous about being in a hospital for the first time, I cheerfully said to Emma. "Emma, you're wearing that cute outfit today." Emma was wearing the outfit we gave her for Christmas. "Thank you." Distracted by the compliment about her clothes, her tense expression softened. Then, with a smile, Emma stepped closer to Michael and took something out of the bag she was holding.
"Grandpa, get well soon."
It was a handmade get well soon bear. Emma. Michael, taken aback, accepted them and scrutinized the cranes. Then, as if realizing something, he abruptly tore it apart.
"Hey, what are you doing? Don't disregard Emma's feelings like that."
But Michael's eyes were cold. "Don't you get it?" "What?" Urged by Michael, I too picked up a bear. On closer inspection, neatly folded inside the bear was a message wishing for Michael's recovery and expressing a desire to go shopping again once he was better. "This means?" "Yes." Emma didn't make this. The warm atmosphere turned cold and heavy, and we all fell silent. As I absent-mindedly stared at the handwriting in the message, I remembered something that happened just a few days ago. The news had reported record cold temperatures that day, and as usual, David called. "Sorry. Emma has a fever, and neither of us can come back right away." "That's tough. I'll go pick her up from the daycare right away." Emma, who had worsened her cold, was left in our care and had been bedridden for a while. "I hope you get well soon." While taking care of her, feeding her, and changing her clothes, I spent my free time folding cranes for her. Eventually, Emma, who had been delirious, gradually recovered thanks to the care. "Grandma."
"Emma."
Once she was able to speak, Emma blinked a few times and then noticed the bear I had made. "What's that?"
"This is a get well soon bear. People send them wishing for someone's illness to get better."
"Wow. I can't saw it all." "Oh, is that so? We'll do it together once you're better."
"Yeah. Thank you, Grandma."
Emma had indeed said that. It had only been a few days since that day, and it was just last week that her fever went down, and she was able to move around. Even if she had learned to saw by now, the bear in front of us was far better made than the ones I had created. Moreover, the handwriting in the message looked similar at first glance, but it was subtly different from the letters I secretly received from Emma.
"Emma, I won't be mad, but please tell me who prepared this?"
Michael asked, but Emma just bit her lip and shook her head. "Emma." No matter how much we asked, Emma remained silent, prompting Michael to sigh lightly and turn to David. "David, I've kept all the receipts for everything we've bought for Emma at home." "Huh, why all of a sudden?" David, still clueless, looked at Michael with curiosity. "We'll check those receipts at home. If something's missing, we'll review the security cameras." "What?" In fact, we had been feeling that something was off with Emma for a few months. Normally curious and enthusiastic about new discoveries and playing full out at the park, her attitude had gradually changed. It was on a day with pleasant weather, just like any other when we tried to take Emma to the park. "Grandpa, the park is boring." Emma had never been disinterested in the park before, so we were quite surprised. "Emma, are you feeling all right?" "No. I just want a new toy." "What about the play kitchen set we got you recently?" "It's boring." Emma, who had never been one to whine or complain, said so, which made us initially think it must be something significant for her to express dissatisfaction like that. "I see. Emma is getting older, and maybe the toys aren't age-appropriate for her anymore." Michael reasoned, not entirely displeased to indulge his granddaughter's whim for the first time by buying her a new toy. However, Emma began to complain more frequently afterward. "Grandpa, I already finished the game you bought last time." "Really, already? It's only been a week. Aren't you playing too much?" Though we usually didn't comment on David and his wife's parenting choices, we couldn't help but question this. "Did you find the game that interesting?" "Yeah." "All right then. Pick something you'd like," Michael said, indulging Emma again by purchasing a new game for her. However, The games Emma requested were either not age-appropriate or were limited edition items of high value. How was the last game, Emma? Emma shook her head slowly, her face stern.
What's wrong? This isn't like you.
I want that next. What? Ignoring Michael's words, Emma made another request. Wasn't it fun, or something? Emma remained silent, giving only a slight nod.
If you can't share your thoughts, I can't buy you a new game.
It was fun. Emma hurriedly responded, trying to mend the situation, prompting even Michael to sigh.
Can you promise not to play too much?
Yes, promise. While Michael continued to buy new games for Emma, he grew suspicious of her attitude and started keeping the receipts. Emma's requests extended beyond games to toys and clothes, yet she seldom shared her thoughts on them. Michael, not wanting to see Emma upset but also not wishing for her to grow up spoiled, gradually reduced the frequency of his purchases. Later, when I handed the bundle of receipts to David, an unexpected development awaited us.
Mom, Dad, I've never seen any of these,
David exclaimed as he arrived at our house with Emma, right after Michael's discharge. I thought so. There's more. David glanced at Emma briefly before falling silent.
Emma, why don't you play with your uncle for a bit?
Alex quickly sensed the situation and took Emma out of the room. David pulled out his smartphone and showed us footage. Make sure you ask Grandpa nicely, okay? Okay. The video contained Rachel instructing Emma to sweetly coax expensive gifts from Michael. This is unbelievable. Michael was unable to hide his shock, but there was more to the video.
You can't possibly play with all these by yourself.
This is something special I got for my birthday.
Be quiet. What's yours is mine. I won't let you have all the fun by yourself.
The footage also captured Rachel taking away the gifts and scolding Emma when she hesitated. You should be grateful I'm taking care of you. Rachel forcibly took away the clothes that Emma had with her. I didn't get anything today. What? Because of you, I can't have fun. I'm sorry. You're not getting dinner tonight. Rachel left without a second glance at Emma, who was crying and apologizing. I couldn't bear to watch the video any longer as it continued. It was too heart-wrenching. Terrible. What kind of mother does that to her daughter? I'm a failure as a father for not noticing this happening while I was at work. David said, his voice trembling and tears streaming down his face, his words filled with frustration and anger. There might be more she's hiding. Yeah. I'm planning to hire a detective. True to his word, David later hired a detective. The investigation revealed that Rachel was having an affair. But it didn't stop there. It was also discovered that Rachel had been selling the items she pressured us to buy for Emma and using the money to have fun with her lover. I want to have a serious talk with Rachel. I'll ask Alex to look after Emma, and I want you both to be there. David said with determination when he came to us, and Alex answered with a serious look. Leave Emma to me. Of course. We have a lot we want to say to Rachel too. Thank you. Later, David entrusted Emma to Alex and brought Rachel to us. I have work tomorrow, so please make this quick, Rachel said with a defiant attitude as David broached the main topic. Rachel, you've been keeping secrets, haven't you? Huh? What are you talking about? Crossing her arms, Rachel raised her eyebrows. Everyone knows you've been cheating.
When did I ever cheat?
Rachel continued to feign ignorance, so David showed her the surveillance footage and the photos obtained by the detective. This is irrefutable evidence. How did you? Rachel showed a moment of shock when confronted with the evidence. Doubting your wife? In this day and age, you can fake such things, you know. Rachel's desperate excuses were met with David laying out evidence after evidence. I don't have time to fabricate this much evidence. Why don't you just admit it? The evidence piled up on the table, overwhelming in quantity. Rachel, glaring resentfully at the pile, finally spoke up. I thought marrying the eldest son of a large construction company would let me live in luxury. Rachel finally spilled her true feelings. But then I found out the successor would be Alex. I told you from the start I wasn't going into construction, so your expectations were misplaced.
It's not just that. I thought I'd get to live in the Parker family home because it's in a prime location, but because of Alex, I couldn't live there.
It seemed Rachel had assumed she'd move into the Parker family home when she married David, especially since Alex was abroad at the time of their relationship. I had my sights set on that. Rachel muttered, leaving us speechless with disbelief. My parents and Alex supported my dreams, which is why I could leave the family home and do as I pleased.
You don't earn enough.
Rachel glared fiercely, raising her voice. Emma got a lot of pocket money and toys. I couldn't stand her having a better time than me. Rachel had taken the money we gave Emma and sold her toys to fund outings with her younger lover, whom she lavished with the proceeds. I thought I'd live a carefree life, but being made to feel so miserable, my frustrations just exploded. Facing Rachel's accusations as if David were the villain, he sighed heavily. You live too lavishly. We could live comfortably if you didn't waste so much.
I still can't forgive having to hold our wedding in such a desolate place when I wanted it in Hawaii. Desolate? It was the largest venue in the city.
David realized from her words that Rachel had been after his money from the start. Michael furrowed his brow and held his head, overwhelmed by the situation. I couldn't stand it anymore. Even the toys for Emma had been getting fewer. It's clear they weren't for Emma, and I'm not foolish enough to continue indulging you. Michael managed to control his anger, despite using his granddaughter to fuel her luxury. I had no choice but to pretend Emma made the 1,000 cranes to please your father, but that backfired.
Don't joke with me. My father isn't your wallet.
David stood up, furious.
What you've done is utterly selfish.
David rarely raised his voice, causing Rachel to cower.
I can't take it anymore. We're getting a divorce.
Seeing David about to lunge at Rachel with a burst of anger, I instinctively felt it was wrong and immediately spoke up.
What Rachel did is inexcusable.
Exactly. David, I understand how you feel, but... I urged David to sit back down and continued. Even if your relationship with us ends, you are still Emma's only mother. I admonished Rachel in a guiding tone. Despite being yelled at and having things taken from her, which must have been hard, Emma never mentioned your name. Whether David's angry shouts had an effect, Rachel seemed to sober up and listened to my words attentively. Consider Emma's feelings. Yes. Watching Rachel often immersed in her own leisure activities, I thought Emma must have felt lonely. Emma's behavior might have escalated because she endured harsh words from Rachel and desperately wanted acknowledgement. I hoped Rachel, as her mother, would realize Emma's true feelings, but I deliberately chose not to say that out loud. Finally, I decided to share something I had been hesitant about. Rachel, and you too, David. There's something I want to tell both of you. What is it? The bear and the handwriting in the message made it clear it wasn't Emma's doing. I wouldn't know just by looking at it. David admitted, feeling guilty. We've received many letters from Emma. I explained, spreading out the letters we had received from her on the table.
I want to marry Grandpa when I grow up.
One letter brightly declared. I want to play in the sky with balloons. Another read, conveying Emma's loneliness due to her parents' frequent absence.
Emma. I'm sorry. I was too focused on work. I'm truly sorry.
Hearing the two of them apologize as if Emma were present, I felt sure they would have a change of heart. After our conversation, Rachel left our house much more subdued than when she arrived. Weeks later, David and Rachel's divorce was finalized. However, we didn't ask Rachel for alimony, with the condition she become a better mother to Emma. She always complained about her low salary, but it looks like she finally got a job. David shared a month after separating from Rachel, who had quit her previous job following the divorce. Since Rachel hadn't worked seriously after getting married, it seemed she was being rejected at every job interview she attended. Well, if she's feeling the difficulty of working, I'm glad. It's a sentiment reflective of David's own journey to realize his dreams. I felt a warm surge in my heart. I want to make more time to talk with Emma. It's going to be harder than ever, so why not move closer to our family home now? Yeah, I'll do that. David quickly found a place near his family home and moved. A while after the move, we received a letter from Rachel. I'm having a hard time learning the job and get scolded every day. But I won't give up because I want to be a good mother.
She's having a tough time.
That's what being a part of society is all about. Michael's words conveyed support and expectation for Rachel. Once I save up some money, I want to buy Emma some toys. The letter concluded with Rachel's strong determination. I hope she works hard and changes for the better. My husband nodded firmly to my words. Since moving, Emma began visiting our house more frequently. The reduced travel time made it easier for us to support them, and David's life seemed more stable. However, Emma sometimes looked lonely, which worried me.
It's unavoidable, but Emma must feel lonely with her mother suddenly gone.
I shared my concern with David while watching Emma play with Michael and Alex.
Yeah. She sometimes talks about her mom in her sleep, and honestly, I feel guilty for what I've done to her. We'll continue to support you as much as we can, so don't hesitate to ask for anything.
Encouraged by my determination to live a long life, David smiled.
Mom, thank you for everything. Please stay healthy. Although I didn't say it out loud, I hoped that one day, a reformed Rachel would come to see Emma.